Hey everybody, welcome to the You've Probably Never Heard of Me podcast, the podcast dedicated to shining a light on the underground artists, creators, and changemakers that the algorithm keeps skipping over. I am your host, Ryan Allen. I am a Detroit-based musician. I've spent over 2 decades playing in bands like Thunderbirds Are Now, Extra Arms, Big Life, Speed Circuit, and more. I've made a lot of records, but more importantly, I've met a lot of really amazing and talented people kind of along the way that need I think to they deserve a little bit more attention is kind of what this whole podcast is about. So today my guests are Jake Weston and Luke LaFountain, the two guys behind Setterwind Records, which is a DIY record label out of Lansing, Michigan. Luke started the label in 2018 out of a spare bedroom with hand dubbed cassette tapes, and then Jake came along in 2022 to build out the visual identity, and together they've put out over 55 releases across cassette, vinyl, CDs, and digital. I have to make a full disclosure that I have released some of my music on Setterwind with my bands Extra Arms, Big Life, and Speed Circuit, and even as a solo artist. So I know firsthand what these guys do and how they do it. So I'm really excited to dig in more with Jake and Luke from Setterwind. Thank you guys for being on the show.
Yep,
How's it going?
absolutely. Thanks for having us. We're happy to be
Yeah,
here.
thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I should thank you. You guys have given me more to be thankful about than maybe I have given
No,
to you. But
no, I think
uh,
it's mutual. It's completely mutual
Oh
because we're
yeah.
very grateful to have all of your releases as a part of the label. So,
well, I'll take that as a high compliment from you guys. But I want to get started kind of at the beginning. I already kind of referenced, the label starting in 2018. I think the first release was from a band called Porchwine,
Yep.
if that is accurate. So there was an EP that you put out on CD and cassette. And I just want to kind of like get into the mind of you, Luke, when you first decided I'm gonna put this out. You were printing like label cards at Staples, I think, and just kind of doing it like super DIY. But give me some of the backstory on why it started, why Porchwine, sort of the whole like foundation of the label, if you don't mind.
Sure. So like little bit of extended background. I had kind of started thinking about making a label a couple of years before, for really no good reason. I just like I think I'm just a big record collector, so I just want to contribute to making records. I was always in love with like good CDs, good vinyl records that had like crazy packaging,
Hmm.
and so kind of being able to have some creative decision in that was always really exciting. And then also just being the person who helps actually put those things out, just really exciting. I was loved finding like a new record label and then obsessing over like finding one artist and then finding out like the rest of the catalog from the label was like so sick. So
Hmm.
like the curation aspect of it was always something I wanted to kind of partake in as well. Um, so I kind of like toyed with this idea of starting a label a couple of years earlier. Again, for like no good reason. I was playing with a band at the time and we were kind of working on like a CD and stuff. And I had some just like fun packaging ideas for that. And I was like, maybe this will be like the start of something.
Hmm.
And really, it wasn't the right thing. It wasn't the right project. It wasn't like I didn't have anything figured out.
Right, but the seed
Um,
was planted, right? Like you were
yeah,
started, the gears were starting to turn.
exactly. Yeah. So that was a couple of years before 2018, and then in 2018, I kind of like graduated college. I already graduated college and started my first job. Ended up living back at my dad's house, and then my friend Ryan Reynolds, she used to live here in Lansing. Um, she was like, "Hey, I'm like working on this new band. I want you to hear it." And it was just demos at the time, but I was like, first thought that I had was like, I want to be in this band. I wonder if I can invade this band somehow. That didn't end up happening, but the like immediate second thought was like, if she's cool with it and the rest of the band's cool with it, I want to like automatically before like the actual final product is done, I want to pitch making them a cassette and a CD.
Mhm.
And sure enough, like I did. I started hanging out with that group of people and kind kind of just threw that out them at like one of their practices. I was like, can I make a CD and like and a tape and like give it a name and stuff? And you know, I think 2 people in the band were like, oh yeah, absolutely, and the other 2 people were like, I don't really know what that means, dude, but like you go for it.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so I did that, and the CDs were just like a normal like duplication site. I think it was like Atomic Disc or something like that. But the cassette was literally done on like a one of those like bookshelf stereos with like a six CD changer and then 2 like tape decks in it. And I literally just like plugged an aux cable in, ran it off of like an iPod, and then just like recorded I think 2 cassettes at once, and just did like a run of 20 of them.
So you probably know that record like the back of your hand, since you had to dub them and listen to them live. You had to listen to them live, right? Like 20 times in a row. So, or 10 times in a row if you were doing 2 at a time, I guess. But that's cool.
Yeah, I was pretty meticulous about like quality control, because like I could be with like 20 units, but like there was a few that had like real bad like warble that I had to like redub and stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, did that whole thing. Like wrote. I had Ryan actually write on them in pen, like the name of the like Porch Wine, and then the name of it is 12 minutes is the name of the like release. Right. And then yeah, everything else was like done at Staples. I don't even know. I think I measured out like how big like the spines should be for like the O card, and how big the back should be, and I just like kind of threw it all together. And yeah, I don't know. It was just like oh, okay, like this is fun. This was like a fun little project for me. So yeah.
Did it feel like an art project at the time, kind of in the same way that like, you know, like I tried to make a zine when I was like in high school. It was just very like, you know, go to Kinko's and, you know, you're cutting and pasting things and you're like trying to like measure things accurately and probably like fucking it up, you know, to a degree, which kind of makes it even cooler, you know. But like, did it feel like that kind of like almost in like a way where you're like working on an art project in like elementary school or something like that, where you are sort of like,
it's arts and crafts.
Yeah, like you, and even more so, I guess, like I think like I guess my question is like, did you kind of just like push out any fear that might have been in your head about like messing it up and just kind of like go full bore into like, I'm just figuring this out and like we're gonna, you know, make this happen one way or the other? Or were you like really researching things and like being super meticulous about like how to like make your first, you know, release kind of like be the perfect thing?
No, I kind of just went for it. Like I was like, part of the reason why like I wanted to do it with Porch Wine is because I knew that they didn't really have any like immediate aspirations to put anything out on physical media. And that was exactly what I wanted to do. I was like, I want to be able to hold this in my hands, and I know other people will too. And I know that like once I like hand you a copy of your CD and your tape, you're gonna feel the same way. Yeah. And so I definitely wanted it to like look decent. But it was definitely like not like I was not thinking about professionalism like at all. I was definitely just like, all right, I just want to like I made, you know, I made the O cards, I cut them myself. Like I said, I think I just kind of like measured like what I thought was right, like on like an O card that I already had.
Yeah.
I think I made it look fine. I think it looks totally good. Like it's, you know, it looks good. Cool. Yeah, I totally, I think normally I would have that perfectionism of just wanting, I'm the most indecisive person in the world. And so looking back, I'm kind of surprised that I just kind of went for it. But it rocked, and it was just like fun. And I remember being at Staples, like on the south side of Lansing, like in the, like kind of late at night, and like getting all that done and then coming back and then cutting it all together and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. It was sick.
Cool. Well, I mean, you know, you got to start somewhere, obviously, right?
Yeah.
And it's cool that that band was like willing to kind of let you, you know, like in that way into their world, and you know, kind of trust you, you know, to do something with their music, which I'm sure they were like passionate about and cared about, you know.
Oh yeah.
So I've been fascinated with like your friendship, the two of you, you know, kind of since I met you guys, but I don't really know exactly how you became friends? I know that the second release was the Silktail EP called Salt, but
Yeah.
were you friends before that? Like, give me kind of like how did that kind of like all come together? Because it feels like you guys have known each other since you were like little kids, but I don't think that
Yeah.
that's actually the case. So talk to me about
No,
kind of Jake's like entering into the picture and how that all happened.
yeah, so you're right. Salt was the like initial like connection there. I think before even Luke offered to put it out on tape for us, he was just a fan and like kind of
Yeah.
like we started texting it. It was um I remember you came to the Avenue to see us, and like we had been chatting, and like we kind of met just at a Silk Sale show, and he was like, "I really like this EP. Can I just put it on tape?" But he had like, the porch wine stuff as proof of concept, and we had
Hmm.
done it on CD already, but we were like 100%. If you want to do it, like let's do it. And then we kind of got together, got coffee, started talking about how to do that project, and in between that we were texting about music and like
Hmm.
realizing we had mutual connections from growing up and just like a lot of like shared interests in bands and like stuff like almost like two worlds colliding of like, oh, like there's a lot of similarities here, and then there's a lot of stuff that Luke's into that I'm not even aware of, and vice versa. um and I think for the first like year or so of our like friendship, it was like going into like lockdown almost, because like we
Okay.
were we were texting more than we were actually hanging out in person,
Yeah, yeah.
um because of COVID lockdown and things. I might be getting the timeline slightly off, because but I think that's kind of when it started. And we, once we could open up, we started skating a little bit together, and we started doing
Hmm.
other things and just kind of hanging out. But um yeah, I mean, it really just bloomed out of like that project, and like
Hmm.
that went so well that like it we kind of just started like wanting to work on more things together. Yeah.
Would and do you feel like I kind of feel like this, and you guys are younger than me, but like I do think it's harder to make friendships, as you get older, there's more things, more responsibilities. Like Jake, I know you have children and, things like that where, it does like impact your ability to like connect with people. And then obviously like COVID coming along, like maybe facilitated a friendship that potentially maybe would not have like been formed in the same way if it wasn't for that factor. Maybe, maybe not. I guess
Yo,
you might
I
know
mean,
and you won't know.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just feel like, like as you get older, it's harder to like connect with people sometimes. And so I'm curious, like now knowing that your friendship, it's been 8 years, I guess, at this point since you guys started sort of hanging out, I feel like, but or
Yes.
met or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, but or 6 years,
It would
eight
be
years.
sick. He started the
Yeah.
label in 18. We did the tape in like 2020-ish,
Okay.
which was
Okay.
after the initial release of the EP, and then after. But yeah, roughly 6 years. Yeah,
But do you feel like, I guess, like your friendship, like, it was accelerated in a way that was um, like unfamiliar to you, or did it feel like, no, like this is how I make all my friends, you know what I mean?
I think for me, I don't think it felt unnatural in any way, but I
Hmm.
think it definitely was like because of COVID, we were both like available, like to text about music, nonstop, right?
Yeah.
Like it was like if we had other things going on in our lives because COVID didn't hit, it might not have happened in the same way, like you're
Right.
saying. But I think, yeah, to me, it felt organic, and it just kind of felt like we, had known each other, like you said, since we've grown up. Like I feel like, we're best friends, and we just, you know, like working together. We have the band together, we have the label
Yeah.
together, we work together now. I mean, in different departments, but
Yeah.
it's like
And
it's
I
how
think
it
that's
goes.
why,
Yeah.
as like an outsider, it's like I think of you as sort of symbiotic, even though like you're not. You're two individual people
Yeah,
and you have your own lives and you do your own things. But like it's kind of like, oh yeah, Jake and Luke from Setterwind. It
yeah,
just kind
yeah,
of
yeah,
rolls
yeah.
Yeah.
right off the
Yeah.
tongue. So yeah, I guess tell me then about, when Jake, when you sort of like joined the fold, so to speak, where it went from like, you being an artist and putting something out on the label, and you guys kind of texting and getting to know each other, skating together, trading music, what have you, to actually being involved in the label and the decision making and all that. When Talk to me about that, Jake, from your perspective. I'm also curious, Luke, like this is something you started, like what was the process and kind of going like, yeah, I want to invite like somebody else into the fold, to help me with this.
Yeah. So, I mean, prior to that, I was doing Smog Moon, which was like Nate Iverson, who plays guitar and drop right, runs that still as a studio. But we were
Yeah.
kind of running it as like a little studio slash label. Like if Nate recorded it and nobody was going to put it out, we wanted
Right.
and we really liked it, we were going to put it out. Because I had kind of grown up like always wanting to do a label, and I had started a label for my own bands, and like it just fizzled out after that first release or whatever in the
Yeah.
past. So like Smogman wasn't really super financially viable as like that, because it's like everything that Nate made to with recording money went right back into putting it out as a physical release. So Nate was kind of like, I need to upgrade my gear, I need to kind of start taking the studio more seriously. And right around that time, I Luke and I were just texting, and I kind of mentioned to him, and I think he was just like, "Well, you can do Setterwind with me." We'd already been kind of at that point. We'd done the Silktail tape. I think
Hmm.
we had talked about doing the normal LP
Hmm.
already, and like we were just kind of like brainstorming like what Setterwind was doing together organically without even having the real conversation yet,
Right. Right. Right.
And maybe he was just bouncing ideas off of me, but it just kind of felt like the natural next step. It was like, oh yeah, like we're already kind of like always talking about this stuff together,
Yeah.
so let's
Yeah.
just make it more official.
Luke, did you like have to sort of, or did you guys have conversations about like establishing roles and things like that? Like you're going to do these things, I'm going to do
Not
that. Like
really.
how did
No.
that work?
No. I mean, so okay, like how in depth can I get right now?
Dude, there's no time. Time is
Okay,
a concept, man. This
that's
is
right.
this is why
So
podcasts rule. You can
yeah,
do whatever you want and talk for as long as you want to.
yeah. All right. So first thing I want to say is like um, our friendship definitely did blossom out of COVID, and um, I know Jake just said that it wasn't super unnatural for him, and it was organic for me as well. But like he was my first like friend that I made on my own moving to Lansing.
Okay.
All of my friends that I had made were primarily through Ryan, and that was great. But like when Jake started Silktail, I was like, I like this band. I get what they're doing. Like
Hmm.
everything about it just clicks. And a lot of the things around me, I was like, I don't fully get this. This was a band that I was just like, I get. And so that's how like we just started talking. Jake's a big talker, and we started trading music recs, and it was very honestly like there was a period where like it was like boyfriends type of thing where
Hmm.
like just like wake up at like first thing in the morning, just like what about this band? What do you think about this band? Just
Hmm.
all day until midnight, just doing that back and forth.
Yeah.
There was like a
Yeah.
few months in the beginning of doing that, and yeah,
Yep.
COVID like definitely it was just like yeah, I'm here in this office, doing that, and I know he was too. So it was a it was very easy to do that though, and it was very
Hmm.
natural to kind of have that like constant conversation over text, and for there to be like lulls and stuff, and just to be like,
Hmm.
all right, I'm gonna hit you back with the other stuff. Have you heard this? All that stuff. So after we put out the Salt EP, things started going. I started putting out a few more things, like the Sulk tape came after that. Perfume tape came after that, and then I think Jake actually brought to me Morning Eagle,
Hmm.
which is his buddy who he used to tour with, Nick
Hmm.
May, who now lives in Long Beach, and
Hmm.
did that first EP. Came back around and did a few more EPs with him, and like up until that point, that's releases like 1 through 7. It was all tapes and like a CD here or there, and then what really changed was when Jake just said the whole thing about Smog Moon. When that happened, he texted me and pitched it as, "Hey, Silktail wants to put out our new record. I think Smog Moon's kind of like going to be changing how it operates, and I don't know if it's going to be quite the label that it was. Do you want to put it out? And like, it's already paid for. Like he threw that out there, and I was like, in my head, I'm like, well, it'd be absolutely so idiotic to not do that. Like 100% yes. Like I was already just so in. Up until that point, I was like, I don't know if vinyl's like in the cards for me. I should have called it Setterwind tapes. Like I genuinely had that thought for the first 7 releases. But with that pitch, I was like, oh yeah, like we can step into the world of vinyl. We can start doing that. And I think that with that release, in that same conversation of, do you want to put this out on Setterwind? I just kind of floated it to him and said like, hey, do you want to like be a part of this? You know, especially if Smog Moon's kind of like, if not going to be a label anymore. And he said yes. And yeah, there was no like established roles or anything. I think that we were under the understanding that I was still going to be kind of the the shipping department.
Okay. The shittiest job of owning a label.
Hey, listen, I actually love it. I kind of love it.
Okay.
So my very first job was at a shampoo distributor. I can go full on Zen mode if I get like a bunch of orders and can just like do it. So like it totally works for me. But yeah, and then like the next 2 releases were on vinyl. The next 2 very next 2 releases, the Flung the Vine and Normal Lemonize. Those are both on vinyl, and they were both like things that Jake and I were both able to participate in talking to the bands about. And it was like, oh, like, okay, this feels really like validating that now somebody else is here and involved. I should also say that before he became fully on board, he was already like pitching designs for logos and stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
So like that happened really organically. I very much felt like I was ripping him off because he was like, "Do you think this is cool?" And I'm like, "Yeah, this is sick." And he's like, "Okay, you want to use it?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And we never talked about like I'd offered, been like, "Hey, like how much?" And you were just like, "Don't, it's fine." And I was like, all right, dude, sure. But
well,
I
think you, when you believe in stuff, and it sounds like, you guys became real fast friends, where like the bond was pretty quick, and there's like a momentum to that, right? And sometimes, like when you catch that wave of momentum, it's like you don't want to be the guy slowing shit down because you're like, yeah, actually, I think you should pay me. Like it's either you pay me for the logo, or like you could probably put another thing out, for maybe about the same amount, right? And it's much more like serving the whole, right? To get the thing out rather than to get like $100 in your pocket,
I just
so
wanted to contribute, you know what I mean? Like like you said, I believed in it, and I just was like, I also just like making stuff. So I'm like, I'm making this stuff anyway. So if you don't like it, we don't use it. That's totally fine. But I'm like, if you want to use it, it's all yours,
Well, like when you're creative, like when you're truly a creative person, like I feel like I'm very much like this, where like I would much rather write like the best song I possibly can than write the worst song I've ever written and make a bunch of money off of it. You know what I mean?
100%.
Because
Yeah.
like I value the creative process so much that like the everything else that comes along with it is kind of like, a nice to have for me, but like isn't the reason that I do it, and like you
Right.
guys, not to like disparage the business side of things in any way, shape, or
Right.
form, but like you're doing it for the love of the music and the bands first,
100%. We're not, there's
way
anything.
before any like money, like, get pay a bill with it maybe or something like probably crosses your mind. I know this because you put my band's records out, uh, who are, maybe
No, but like yeah.
mid-tier Setterwind sales. I'm just assuming. I don't
No,
actually know.
they do very well, Ryan.
But
And we love
why do you think we put
being
out 8 of them?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just being
Yeah.
humble for this narrative of this podcast.
Yeah.
Actually, I know we're number one with the ball.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think so. Jake, it sounds like visual, like kind of contributions were maybe part of the things that you were throwing in. But like Luke, when you guys decided to put some things out on vinyl, which is a slightly more complicated process, right? Like, did having somebody else to also help with that process make it go easier, make you want to do more, like having sort of a partner in crime in that sense, not just the visual, but just like, or even visuals, like handling like, resizing art for something, or whatever you
Oh
might have
yeah.
done, like, did that make it feel like you could accomplish like the vinyl thing? Because you were saying, I had no intention on putting out anything beyond tapes, and all of a sudden we're releasing two vinyl records. Like, did having Luke, or I'm sorry, did having Jake like be sort of in the fold at that point make it seem less daunting to do so?
Yeah, 100%. Like he like knew exactly what to expect out of like getting vinyl artwork to be set up like to template so that he could ultimately have that set up for production and stuff. So
Hmm.
even just like having him like even if like somebody gave us the artwork to template, having him be able to like review it and give like the vote of confidence that like, okay, yeah, everything looks like it lines up.
Yeah.
It's like I trust him wholeheartedly for that. Um, and yeah, having him on board for like visuals all the way down, like for all sorts of things was helpful. You were saying like, he's a very, very creative. He just kind of was doing like a lot of stuff. Not to speak for Jake too much, but like I think you were like doing like a lot more just like doodling and stuff during the pandemic and
Hmm.
like messing around a lot more, experimenting with like design stuff a lot more. So I got like a lot of just like stuff out of that, to be honest. Setterwind got a lot
Yeah,
of
yeah,
stuff out
yeah,
of that.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so again, just like having stuff to put up for like Instagram posts even was like, huge help.
Hmm.
He did new logos and has done new logos. And that was a huge
which
help.
which I which I love about what you guys do. I think that there's obviously like the Sub Pop logo is the Sub Pop logo, and it will always be that. Even though there are variations on it, it's always a variation pretty much of that. Even though they make stickers and
Yeah.
have different T-shirts, but when it's on the record, it's the Sub Pop logo,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which I think is cool. But on the flip side, I also think it's really like exciting and refreshing, and it feels it's this like injection of energy into the project when like three or four releases down the line, there's a different logo altogether, and it kind of almost like
Yeah. I
maybe
think,
intentionally or unintentionally like eras, things a little bit. It's like, oh,
yeah.
this is the Angel era or whatever.
Mhm.
Talk to me
Yeah.
about that a little bit.
So I think I mean we just keep evolving and like wanting to push ourselves like visually, but like with what goes on the record a lot of times is like I lately it's just like whatever the band thinks looks best on their artwork
Yeah,
is what
yeah,
I want them to use. Like they
yeah.
can use the original one, they can use the newest one and anything in
Hmm.
between if they like one that they've seen that and they think it looks good on the art because I think at the end of the day is more important to me that it like aesthetically fits than like oh here's this thing that looks like a sticker on there that doesn't really work.
Yeah,
Um
yeah. No, I think that's cool.
and
But
we
I think to Ryan's point, like I think people do also feel that energy of like, oh, like I just saw this like kind of newer logo that you guys just did and I love it. We want that one. Like that's kind of how like the Sunlight record went, where like they
yeah.
saw
Hmm.
the new kind of like the rectangle with like the smaller Jack logo.
Hmm. Yeah.
And it's like I was so stoked to put that on something as like the logo for the record. Um so like yeah, I think people are also, like you said, excited about like the new energy and how things like shape up from there.
Yeah, no, I think it's like a very cool kind of like not always leaned into like marketing adjacent because you get to use it for merchandise and things like that, and you kind of can have different variations of things available. But I just think it keeps things fresh, and it keeps things interesting, and it kind of like signals to me that like we're not just one thing, which
Yeah.
kind of parlays into my next question, which is more about I think, the diversity that really is present on the label. I think that there's a lot of labels that really lean into a certain thing and they do that really well. And I'm curious if there was an intention to do that at all in the timeline, but talk to me about like I said, the diversity of the different sounds and styles of music that you guys feature on Setterwind, and kind of how do you sort of land on that, deciding, like what to put out, is it, um, oh, we've already got enough of this, let's you know what I mean? Like talk to me about the sort of varied sounds and styles on the label.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I've always liked labels that kind of like aren't afraid to throw something out from left field, right? Like Revelation Records, it's like I've found so much stuff that I like from that
Yeah, yeah,
label, and it kind of spans so many different genres. So that's like one side of the coin for me. But then the other side is like majority of it is like wanting to help out friends and friends bands, and I like
yeah,
their music. Like I
yeah.
think the first one that kind of felt like maybe, oh, this might not fit. It was like probably Moral Pollution, but at the end of the day, it was
Hmm.
like I love those guys. I'm going to put out their tape. You know what I mean? Like that's something that would be great to do.
Hmm.
Um, and we did it, and that kind of opened the doors to just kind of be like, all right, yeah, there aren't any rules necessarily. I
Hmm.
mean, we have to both be on board with it. We both want to like it, and both can back it in some way or another. But like, I mean, it all exists in the same world of like all of our friends that like play music in Michigan are doing things like, I mean, even you are doing Big Life, your solo stuff, Extra Arms, like it's all different. Like
Hmm.
we could have been like, oh no, sorry, Big Life's too hard for us or something. But then it's like
That's a
that's
lie.
some of our favorite stuff. You know what I
We're
mean?
the
Like
we're the wimpiest hardcore band in Detroit.
yeah,
Proudly.
But you're the
and
best
we
punk band
love
in
you for
Detroit
it.
per
Well,
the Metro
well,
Times.
that,
Yeah,
yeah, this is true. I don't know how, but it's
it's
not fake
it's
news.
it's a fact. It's on
Yeah,
paper.
yeah.
Well, so
Like I
like
said,
Luke, I
yeah,
was
go
gonna
ahead.
ask you, like, do you have like Jake, you were kind of starting to allude to it, but do you have like a mental checklist? Like, it's got to check these 5 or 10 boxes for us to go, like, yes, this is Setterwind. And it doesn't
Mm,
mean like musically, it just
Yeah.
means like aesthetically.
Um, I would say like we both just simply have to like it. We have to like the songs. That's like kind of like bare minimum.
Sure.
If we like the song, and like this is not like a real like real checklist, but this is sort of like quick notes. If I can like kind of observe the band and observe see what they got artistically or whatever, like can I figure this out? It's like, are the songs good? Do I like the songs, and do we like the songs together?
Hmm.
um we've had plenty of things where like I like it and Jake doesn't, or Jake
Yeah.
likes it and I'm like, I don't get it, and
Yeah.
like those things don't end up on the label. And but if we like the songs, if we kind of get the vision a little bit, you
Hmm.
know a lot of it's hard to make music nowadays without like some sort of reference point to other stuff, even if you're not just trying to like fully like jock somebody else's sound or style or something. So but like it's like, oh, like I see kind of like what they're going for, like what their steps are, like what they're doing, and if I can kind of contextualize it, then like that's a good sign.
Hmm.
Not necessarily to like pigeonhole anything, but like
Yeah,
there's
no,
been
I feel
stuff
you.
where it's like it's like Friends, and they put out something like really sick, but I'm like, I don't know how to like explain what this sounds like to somebody, and
Hmm.
that freaks me out.
Hmm.
But being friends with people is really good, because like I also, because like a big thing is like I want to make sure that they're good people too. I don't want to like, I don't know. I don't want to like, work with somebody who's sketchy or
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
bad people or
Having
like,
having a no assholes policy is a good
yeah,
rule to live by,
Yeah.
yeah. So like I said, we're blessed with like doing like a lot of this stuff with friends.
Yeah.
And thankfully there's so many people in Michigan and through the US who we know who are putting out amazing music that just needs a little bit of attention. And
Hmm.
that's where we come in and ideally want to help and you know love on them a little bit.
Hell yeah. Well, you guys have put out tons of stuff, different genres. You got shoegaze, there's emo, there's hardcore, there's, my shit is power pop. There's everything kind of under the sun, has like been featured on Setterwind one way or the other, which, for me as a record collector and a fan of so many types of music, like those are the labels I feel drawn to. Like I loved Matador and Merge when I was a kid because, you knew it was going to be good if you bought it, but it might sound completely and totally unlike the thing that you just bought before it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And Jake, you already kind of referenced Revelation, but are there other labels that you guys looked to then that inspired kind of you to want to do it a certain way? And are there labels now, and they could be the same label, but that kind of still inspire you to like strive to kind of put out quality shit, both from a audio and visual perspective?
Yeah. For me, I mean, tons of labels just growing up that like kind of had, that varied sounds on them, right? Like I like a little bit of everything, but I think to your point, when you find something like from a label that you can trust, it can like open up your world entirely to a different genre just because, oh, that label backed it, right?
Hmm.
It's like I wouldn't have picked that up before based on the sound of it, but now they put it out, I'm gonna put it on and sit with it, and it actually hits me, and then now I'm hungry for that sound.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I'm like I Revelation's huge for me. Jade Tree, like
Yeah.
that whole lane of stuff. Trying to think like nowadays, like New Morality Zine and Sunday Drive Records, like both of them kind of put out a lot of varied stuff too, and it's
Hmm.
kind of like that's kind of like inspiring. It's like it works. It's working for them. It's working for us. Like those are the kinds of things that like the labels that I look to.
Right on. Luke, what about
I
you?
uh, I think that there's like a really obvious answer that like when I first started like collecting records on my own, um, Run for Cover kind of got like a real like had like
Hmm.
a real heyday, and they've consistently been a label who like even today puts out like heavy stuff. Like there's bands on there like Portrayal of Guilt that's like super heavy. And then they go all the way to the other end of the spectrum with like a band like Healing Potpourri, which is
Hmm.
like Bell and Sebastian ripoff.
Okay.
Um, and everything in between, all like the kind of like emo stuff, the
Yep.
post-hardcore stuff,
Hmm.
like whatever. And so like that was always like really inspiring to like every single thing that comes out. It's like I at least have to check this out and see if I click with it. And
Yeah.
that was like I said, that happened right at the moment that I was like collecting records for myself.
Yeah.
And they have just always had a pretty like wide variety. I'm trying to think of somebody like nowadays who like I'm into that's not New Morality Zine. I mean, New Morality Zine is like you know a buddy of ours, and like we
Okay.
really like love the stuff that he puts out. It
What are
leans
what
into a
are
scene a
some
little
of
bit.
Oh,
the like releases that you would like recommend people check out?
Prize Horse, that first Spite House record
Okay.
was
Okay.
huge.
Okay. Right on.
Yeah,
He did the first two Fake Eyes EPs, which is how I found
yeah,
out about New Morality Zine.
those
Um,
are
Okay.
phenomenal.
I'll tell you a quick little Setterwind anecdote. I fell in love with the first Fake Eyes EP, which the kind of easy comparison is they sound a lot like Hum.
Okay.
Done like really really well though. Like I feel like there's a lot of people who claim that they sound like Hum and don't sound like Hum whatsoever. Um, Fake Eyes is really good. They had a first like 2-song demo, and I listened to it like a lot over the course of like a couple months,
Hmm.
and at a point when I like had already started the label, I already put out the porch wine thing, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna put out this. I'm gonna email this band and see if they're at all interested. And I typed in their name into their band and like Fake Eyes Bandcamp to like get their email address. And that day, for the very first time, uh, the search results were different, and it was on the New Morality Zine Bandcamp. And I was like, well, at least I'm buying it.
Yeah.
So at
Yeah.
least somebody did it, and now I get to have the tape. And yeah, I mean, that's such a good band, such a sick band. And yeah,
Cool. I'll have to check them
they've
out. I
ranged a
haven't heard
lot.
them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Are you a
Yeah.
Hum guy?
Oh yeah. I love
Yeah.
Hum.
yeah, you will
I
Yeah.
like it. You'll enjoy it.
I saw Hum when I was in high school at a free concert put on by 89X. It was like their birthday bash. It was
Crazy.
Nice.
also the same concert. It was the first Silverchair show in the United States ever.
What? That's
It's because
That's
crazy.
sick.
it was like a radio festival, so it had
Hmm.
Yeah.
like a band called Rusty from Canada played. Uh, who else played it? man, I forget, but definitely
Rusty sounds
Hom.
familiar.
Yeah, they played him on 89X all the time. Uh, but I think Suicide Machines actually played it.
Nice.
Love Battery played it from like the 90s, like Seattle Love Battery, like 80s, I guess too. But anyway, Silverchair's first show, and I saw them.
Crazy. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. I love Downward is Heavenward. That's my favorite home record.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, since we're talking about music, I do want to touch on the fact that you guys play in a band together. Band's called Drop
First time
Rate.
hearing about it.
Yeah, I hate to break it to you. You're in a band together too. Okay. And you're good.
Thank
You're
you.
a good band.
Thank you.
But yeah, so you guys play in a band called Drop Rate together. So not only are you involved in, putting out records and doing the Setterwind project, but also you're making music together now. How does that like impact the friendship, but also how does it impact the label that you're like kind of further invested in another thing together that you want people to hear and know about?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I've ever even thought about how it impacts our friendship or the label, but I think it just kind of is more motivation to do creative stuff together that
Mhm.
like we can like put our energy in. That's because like with the label, it's like we do like we put stuff out like we're like it'll pile on where like we're like, oh, we have 6 releases that we have to work on, and then it's like it goes kind of radio silent for a little bit, and we're
Mhm.
like, oh well. So then it's like having other creative projects to kind of talk about and like spin ideas off of is as a creative person, like I need an endless amount of those, as I'm assuming you do, because you have
Yep.
6 bands.
Yeah.
Like it's like it's like I have to have like creative things to think about on a
Well,
regular
yeah,
basis.
especially right now, with everything happening in the world, it's so fucked up.
Absolutely.
And, like I don't know what I'd do if I didn't have creative shit to focus on.
Same.
I'm sure it's the same for you guys.
Yeah.
But Luke, I'm curious from your perspective, like how does the band, the label, the friendship, like it's all intertwined in this way? Like how does that kind of impact? I guess how does it impact you? Like how does it affect you as a person? Like having
Um,
all these kind of things connected together.
well, so I don't know how you guys do it. You guys both have kids and stuff. I don't have anything going on besides shipping a couple records here and there, and then showing up to practice on Sundays, some Sundays, and like still, it's like I feel like I'm the busiest man on earth. But honestly, like for me, like I'm not like a huge writer. I'm not showing up to the Drop Rate stuff with like riffs and lyrics or anything. But like I I'm there to play, and like I really love doing that. I love
Hmm.
like playing shows. I love even just like being in the room with the guys and playing with them and just like enjoying it. Like I don't know. I still feel like a little kid like when I get to play music with my friends, because it's just
Hmm.
like I just love, like, as this is the corniest thing, but like I just love the energy. I love just being able to be in that room with people
Yeah.
and play songs that like we all genuinely back and love, and then get to take them out to a gig and play with other bands that we also love and friends that
Hmm.
we also love. And it's, as an older person, you said something earlier about like finding it hard to make new friends when you're older and things like that.
Hmm.
And it's definitely the case, but it's a lot easier when you have something kind of consistent to be able to go out to. And yeah, I'm
Absolutely.
going to go to shows. I'm going to go enjoy those shows. Or on the flip side is like every once in a while I get to play one, and I get to be again with my best friends and play in a place that we've never played before,
Hmm.
and play with new bands that we've never played before, and get to have new buddies and stuff. And yeah, I don't know, I just really like it. And it hasn't really changed much functionally for like where I'm at like with the label or anything. It's fun to be on the side where like we get to kind of take part in the creative decision making on both sides of it,
Right.
where if we're talking about like what we want the record to look like, well, we don't have to go send that to a label to have them like check it,
Hmm.
and we also have the expertise to know what we're looking for with that. So
Right.
we get to kind of like make a lot of like fun decisions just by doing that. And yeah, I don't know. It's definitely fulfilling in kind of a different capacity that I didn't really realize I was like missing before we started playing in that band.
Yeah. Yeah. And you guys have been a band for like probably what, a year and a half, 2 years now?
Probably 2 years.
Yeah.
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 I think the first EP came out like January 2024, but
Mhm.
we were practicing for a while before that, I think.
Yeah, the band went through multiple iterations, and like the riffs had been sitting with me for the first EP or the initial starting ideas for it since COVID times, you know. So it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
stuff that I had been tossing around, and then it just accidentally became a real band,
Yeah.
because everybody else in the band heard the riffs and were excited about it. So then it
Yeah. Yeah.
just, you know, but
Yeah, I
Cool.
think
Well,
also just as like a fun aside, I had an opportunity to fill in for Sulk, which kind of came out of
mhm.
nowhere. My friend Austin, who was playing with Sulk at the time, was like, "Hey, do you want to like our bass player can't make it? Do you want to fill in?" And I was like, the first time playing music, I think at that point in like 6 years,
Okay.
and I was like, yeah, I would love that. And I think that turned into, I think I filled in for Silktail maybe before Drop Rate.
yeah, I think so. For
And then,
the first
but
one.
then I think at that point, I think you were like, okay, this dude, like, you know, he'll play that bass. He'll do that thing.
Yeah.
And so,
Hey man, you filled in for Full Court Press.
dude, I love that.
It was awesome. I mean,
Straight
you
up.
are, that was like one of the most fun. That was probably the most fun day I had that whole summer. Last summer when we did
I
that, it was
agree.
super fun.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, genuinely a great time. I think back of that day fondly.
Great
I knew it
pizza.
was like, yeah. Well, I don't even remember what that place was called, but it was in Toledo. And
I
it
don't
was
either. Yeah, it was
pretty
good.
solid. We walked around with Evan and checked out records, got coffee. This is perfect day, except Jake wasn't there, but perfect day otherwise.
Would have been nice, but
If you did come, you would have had to put sunscreen on because
yeah.
it was no shade and extremely hot. But we soldiered through. We did what we do. But anyway, I can vouch for you as a great bass player. You guys are both super talented musicians. For people listening, like, you know, real quick, like, what would you say you kind of sound like? What is Drop Rate? What's your vibe?
Drop Rate, I mean, the initial idea was like Snapcasey kind of stuff. I just wanted bouncy, fun, Snapcase inspired hardcore. And then through that, like everything that I like from hardcore kind of trickles in. And then, you know, Nate, Josh, and Luke's influences kind of all come out through it as well. But yeah, to me, like that's the band that I'm like, hey, here's like, if you like that, you might like this. And then we've kind of started like experimenting since that initial, you know, thing, and kind of become our own thing in a way where I don't necessarily know exactly who we sound like, but there's still the elements of all those bands that, you know.
Yeah. I think there's a freedom to heavy music that like kind of at certain points can push you in that direction if maybe your intention wasn't to start that way. You know, like with Big Life, I feel like, you know, the initial kind of thought was to do something very specific, and like we did that, you know. And then as soon as we really got to know each other better and understood like, oh, we're all into like some like different shit here, and like maybe we can bring some elements of these things in, then it really opened things up, you know. And I feel like I'm less want to do that in my like more pop like mind, but in like Big Life I'm like, yeah man, I don't
Let's be
know,
weird, let's
play
do
a
the thing.
saxophone on that
Yeah.
part, you know. Anyway,
Yeah.
cool. Well, Snapcase bouncy hardcore is definitely a good description. And if you're listening to this, definitely check out Drop Rate. Check out Silktail as well, which is Jake's kind of shoegaze indie rock band, which is also great. And then you have another thing that you just put out, right? Like a few months ago.
The Star 69
Yeah,
little
yeah,
demo thing.
yeah.
Yeah, that I just love Lifetime.
Yeah.
one of my favorite bands of all time, and that was kind of a palate cleanser project for me, where it was just like I need to just like write something different that doesn't fit with these other two bands. Let me just see what I could do on my own.
Hmm.
Um, Tracked it all, and then my friend Alex Larson was like, "Let me play like real drums on this," because I was programming drums for it.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, and just for a writing exercise more than anything.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. It's
then
cool.
he's phenomenal at drums, and it just sounded so good that we were just like, let's just put it out on a tape. Um, I have a few other ideas that like we've tossed around, but I don't know if we'll ever do anything else with it. But it was just fun to do.
Yeah. That's
Luke's
cool.
mad because he wants me to do more with it, but
I'm begging him to let me play guitar in this band.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
every time I say that, or anytime somebody's like, "Oh, we need like we need another band on this bill," I'm like, "Star 69 would fit that bill, Jake." And he goes, "No, that's not real. That's fake." And I'm like, "Dude, just play 4 songs and people will love it." There's people who
we
are
have three
clamoring for
songs.
it. Yeah, and then you can
let
do
me
a Lifetime cover.
let me play
Yeah,
bass in that band.
we
I'll be your
can do
bass
it.
player.
We'll maybe do it. We'll do it. You can play
Yeah.
bass.
All right. Cool.
You can play
Um,
You
drums
heard it. You
too.
heard it
You know.
here. I'll do both.
Yeah.
and correct me if I'm wrong, Jake, but that was also like you say it's a writing exercise, but it was also an exercise to learn how to program drums, right?
That was the
Yeah.
initial
Yeah.
like I was
Cool.
like I've never because that's like the biggest hurdle I have for like fully making songs at home by myself is programming drums. So I was like, well, if I just do fast beat all the time, once I have that programmed, I can have 90% of a Lifetime song, you
Yeah.
know.
That rocks.
And then just switch up the what, you know, if you're doing the floor tom or the hi-hat or whatever here and there to change it up. Um but yeah, that was the initial like I wanted to do that so then I could maybe do that for Drop Rate and Silktail, but
Yeah. Right.
I still haven't done it for those bands. But I learned a little bit, but I think Alex coming in and playing real drums made me go, yeah, it's just nicer to have real drums, you know?
Yeah. Cool,
Yeah.
man. Well,
Yeah.
congrats, on putting that out. And
No, thank
yeah,
you.
it sounds like people want to hear more of it. So uh, you have no choice. You gotta do
We'll
it.
see. Yeah.
I'm a big
So
fan.
just a few more for you guys. I'm curious, you guys have put out a lot of shit, honestly, like 55 or so releases, I think it is right now, right? Something
Well,
around
I think
there.
it's pretty good, but I don't think it's shit. But like, I think it's
Well,
pretty
I'm
good.
sorry, I mean that in a non-derogatory way.
Yeah.
You guys have put out 55 excellent releases, worthy of Grammy awards, if not
Heck.
an MTV or VH1, like, well, at least the videos should get an award. But anyway, um, are there any records from the catalog that you feel like people should like maybe got slept on or like that kind of went under the radar that like you feel like, dude, you missed this and you should listen to this? And it could be as many as you want.
Yeah. First one that pops into mind is all of the Flung releases. I think that
Hmm.
band is phenomenal. And I think that was kind of a learning curve for us because it was besides Morning Eagle, like out of state release, you
Right. They're
know?
from
So like
Seattle,
Seattle, they're
right?
from
Okay.
Seattle. So it's like being able to like how can we support a band from across the country because we know how we can support here because we can physically be there, we have the community here to like kind of interact with and like
Hmm.
promote shows, but if I share a show flyer for Seattle, does it do anything,
Right.
um so that was kind of a big learning curve, but I think that those three records are phenomenal and like
Hmm.
should be listened to like
Yeah.
by
Why?
everybody.
Yeah.
What? Tell people what Flung's about.
So Flung, my old band Home Life toured with a band called Fighting Words. That was this kid named DJ played guitar for that band, and then I just kind of stayed connected with him on the internet. He started Flung. It's very. I just was a fan before we even reached out. They had a full length and like a 2 song thing. It's somewhere between Built to Spill and Ovlov
Hmm.
kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's
Cool.
it's somewhere in that lane. Um, and I think at one point like I had shared like the 3 song release that they had 2 or 3 song like little EP with Luke and he loved it, and we were just like trying to figure out what to do with the label, how we can expand it, and we reached out to them and they were like, oh yeah, absolutely, you can do it, and that's how we did the Vine, which was their second LP, and we've since then gone back, done a reissue of their first LP and their newest record. So,
Oh yeah. Okay.
um,
Cool. So Flung, people need to get on that Flung shit
absolutely.
ASAP. What about you, Luke? Is there anything that sticks out to you?
Um, Flung's one of my go-tos too, because like I truly fell in love with the first record that we did with them, the Vine. The other two are absolutely fantastic, but like something clicked with me big with that record. There's a very like time and place. Like Jake said, I think it was our very first time doing vinyl out of state,
Yeah.
and that felt like a very big swing for us.
Hmm.
So that was kind of a huge deal. But like that whole record front to back, like I listened to it again like recently, and I was like, dude, like everything about this was so good. And yeah, like I feel like in Michigan, like nobody's heard it, and I'm like putting it in people's hands. Like, please just like put this on your turntable, because it's very good. I mean, I wholeheartedly agree with that. But
Okay.
right before that, we did the luxury practice Morning Eagle split,
Hmm.
which is a really fun project where we did like a little like mini zine with it. But it's two songs from each band, and luxury practice is a very like, I don't even know how to say it. It's like methodical. It's very like they don't like it's our friend Alex, who just doesn't put out a lot of music under this name, but when he does, it's like incredible. And he's
Unreal.
like a genius like producer too. So it just comes out sounding like amazing. And then the Morning Eagle songs are probably
Hmm.
my two favorite Morning Eagle songs, maybe
Cool.
ever. Um, so I mean, that's really up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably like my
Cool.
go-to answer. Maybe the other one would be like all the Grey Garden stuff.
Hmm.
Um,
Shout
I
out
think
Sean.
yeah. I was always like, I think from like day one of the record label, I was like, I need a band that like gives me proper like 90s emo stuff that I like,
Hmm.
A lot of band like that's like the hum thing where like everybody kind of claims that, but like nobody sounds like that. And I heard that band and I was like, this is like what this reminds me so much of Elliot in like
Hmm.
the best way.
Hmm.
And I like need to like do this and spend more
Hell
time
yeah.
with it.
Love that.
Um
Yeah,
Yep.
agreed.
Sean is a bandmate of mine from Grey Gardens and multiple bands, in fact, and I can agree. Definitely like nostalgic in the right way for that kind of sound that's actually really hard to pull off
yeah.
well, So yeah, shout out to Grey Gardens. This might be a leading question, but like think about it in the most realistic sense and almost as an opportunity to manifest. But what would be like a dream release for you guys to put out? It could be a band or it could be a format or a style of release, like a compilation on double vinyl or of all the, like that could be an example, right?
Yeah.
So it could be any of those things. So,
Luke's always wanted to do the double tape book thing. So I don't
Yeah.
want to answer for you, but I know
okay.
that that's always been like, how do we do that in a way that makes sense and that's cool? Um,
Okay, never mind. I won't say anything.
what? No, go
Uh,
ahead.
label drama
We'll talk.
live on the
No.
podcast.
It's not drama. It's not label drama, Ryan. It's band drama. No, I'm just kidding. It's
Oh, oh,
all
for
to
the drop
say,
rate stuff, we might do that.
maybe
Yeah.
I've
Merch
thought we've
drama.
we've talked about it for doing uh we've talked about it for doing drop rate stuff, doing the double tape thing, and
Cool.
it's absolutely still on the docket. So we'll
Yeah,
see. That might be the
100%.
first time we do it. So
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Um,
Cool.
do you know what we're
for
talking about for the double tape thing? Like the where it's like the clamshells with the two
Hmm.
tapes? Yeah, okay. So
top
like yeah,
like
okay.
top and bottom, yeah. For bands, I'm really just clamoring for the new Normal LP.
It's gonna be my answer.
It needs to happen. They need to make it happen. I know that they have demos for the whole thing, and they just
Yeah.
put out a new single, so I know it's in the
Yeah.
works. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been dreaming for it since that first one, so
All
that's the
right.
one.
Cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's kind of the obvious answer because everybody's been wanting that, and like they just put out one song last week,
Yep,
and
it's very good.
everyone it's the only thing I've seen in my Instagram feed
Yeah.
stories is
Yeah.
just
It rocks.
and it's very good and yeah, so like Yeah, Dream Release is just that album on LP on a vinyl record.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Maybe a Star 69 record would be sweet.
Okay.
Could happen.
Yeah, I don't know.
What about something that's like, oh, like this band that
okay.
like,
so here, all right.
like a Cloud
Here,
Nothings record.
Yeah,
you know
no,
what I mean? Or
okay.
something like that.
Here's
where
what
it's like,
yeah, my dream is that we could reissue Seam's The Problem with Me, and
okay,
probably
see,
Seam's entire discography,
this
because I
is the
want those.
answer
Yes,
I'm looking
I
for.
want those records. And there's one up at Found Sound. That's the one in
Yeah, still
Ferndale up on
there.
the wall. Yeah, and it's too much money. I can't justify it. I could probably invest that much money into re-releasing it for them, and have my own copy and give everybody else a copy that needs one, because everybody needs those records. So that's kind
They
of
reissued the first one, right?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, not that long ago.
Which I own.
Yeah.
Was that
the one with the carousel?
Carousel.
Or
That Mac
yeah.
from Superchunk plays drums on that record.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that through that? What's the label? Numero Group? Is that through Numero Group?
I believe so.
It might have been on that.
Yeah.
They either way, like, it's a label like that did it.
Yeah.
But still, The Problem with Me hasn't been reissued yet, and that's like a couple $100 on Discogs. And Are You Driving Me Crazy is also always $200 every time I see it anywhere. So I love that band, and I want them on vinyl. So that would be a cool, like, did something that yeah.
I love that. I love that answer. Luke, is there anything in that world that you would want to throw out there?
I feel like there's definitely been things that I've like pitched where I'm like, it might be a tangible thing to be able to like put out this as like a reissue. And like off the top of my head, I can't. Have I, like, Jake? Do you remember if I've like?
You've pitched things,
about
and
it,
I'm blanking on them too. But you dream about things.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
All right. I mean, there's stuff that like maybe it wouldn't like fit, but it'd just be like a dream project for sure. I think I have like two that are coming to mind, and one of them would be the band The Weeknd from Detroit. Do you know them?
Yeah.
I love like the I don't know if it's the first record they did, but how everyone ruins everything or whatever. That'd be a fun one just to kind of like do something cool with like Detroit history music.
I know some of the people in the band, so if you want, you just tell me, and I can connect.
See, but like, all right, yeah, we'll talk, because like that's genuinely, it's never been done on vinyl, and I don't know how many people would like be all over that.
I think people would be into it.
I love that, and it'd be so sick to put out, and it'd be sick to do like a big old booklet with it or something.
Okay.
But kind of an extension, beyond that. One of my favorite like albums of all time is kind of like locked on CD is a band called The Snake That Crossed the Crown. An album called Cotton Teeth. It was like an Equal Vision band, but it was like a kind of like a folk inspired band.
Yeah, right.
Very like, I remember reading like the little sticker on the CD, and it was like, for fans of the band. And I was like, this is the weirdest touch point for people who are like looking for Equal Vision records. But they only ever did it on CD. They only ever did all their stuff on CD. And I would love to have it like on a nice 180 gram vinyl.
Cool.
Yeah, that would be a huge dream.
These things are not as far out of reach. Like with my friend Justin, who runs Forge Again, he was able to re-release multiple records that were on majors, that never came out.
The Triple Fast Action
and Fig Dish records. So like it does happen. You know what I mean? I mean, Sidewind Dummy did the first two Super Drag records, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, very recently.
But way back, like in like 2010. You know.
Nice.
But yeah. So anyway, so it's possible.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying. Well, cool. Well, I guess the point of the show is to put people onto things that like they maybe don't know about. And I think like people who would want to like pay attention to something like I'm involved with certainly like have an awareness of Setterwind, but maybe don't fully understand what it is. So like there is that, but like I'm curious, like, do you guys talk about like how do we get the word out about this shit? Like, what do we do to kind of like break through the noise of like, not just like everything going on in the world politically and shit, but like, just other, music stuff, label stuff, content stuff, whatever. Like, how do you like reckon with the fact that like you're trying to get somebody to pay attention to something while there's millions of other things for them to pay attention to? Like, how does that
Yeah,
factor into your psyche?
I mean, for me, like it factors into the psyche and like that. I know people need it right now, right? Like
Okay.
as much as it is like, well, yeah, I know like nobody can really justify spending $30 on a record when they probably need to spend it on something else because the economy's in a terrible place. I'm still like, for me, I'm like, I'm finding a way to buy the record that I need because I need it.
Yeah.
So I think that it's necessary for that kind of thing. And yeah, I mean, trying to break through the noise and connect with people, it's just, it's always a challenge, right? When you're making
Mhm.
art, you're doing music, we're always just trying to find ways. I think just continuing to like push and connect however we can, like doing things like this and doing our
Yeah.
table at Tied Down. When we do it Tied Down, like I think that
Hmm.
that we've done it twice now, and every year I feel like revitalized of like meeting people who also feel the same way and are
Yeah.
excited about similar bands and like just like hearing us geek out about like somebody like Luke will pick up a record and like I'll be talking about it and somebody will stop and be like, oh, like you guys like that record too, like that's amazing, and you just make those connections. And I think that's more about what it's about entirely than
Yeah. Yeah.
than being like, oh, our bands are going to be massive. Like I'd love for all of our bands to be massive just for the sake of them being celebrated as much as I want them to
Yeah.
be,
Yeah.
but we just like the community aspect and the
Yeah.
like nerding out on the things that we love and being able to be a backbone for people who are struggling, because everybody who's creating this music is struggling right now. So like
Hmm.
just being that backbone, it it's always been nice for me when people are like, yeah, we've got you, like like your art, like friends that you meet in the music scene are like, yeah, like you need a show, we've got you, like you need this, we've got you. Like being
Yeah,
able to
man.
be that for other people
Totally.
is huge.
Yeah. Well said. Very well said, man. What about you,
Yeah,
Luke?
I entirely agree. I think, like Jake said, I would love for every single one of our bands to blow up and be, the next big thing for people. But that's not necessarily the goal. The goal is the goal. I think actually that's something to say about like Satterwind as a whole, is like the goal has always been about like community first. It's always been about like being a part of it and,
Hmm.
just contributing. And like there's definitely been releases where it's like we will lose money, but we will do it because like we love it, we love the people who are involved in it,
Hmm.
we want to stand by it, we want to be the fifth and sixth members of their band, and in the sort of decision making process, help them with anything that they need. um and I mean, as far as like cutting through the noise, I think some of that is just that we kind of satisfy a very specific niche in Michigan, where like
Hmm.
we, there's so many hardcore labels in Michigan and so many great hardcore labels. I don't know if there's a lot of other labels kind of doing what we're doing right now.
No.
Um, and I think that people are grateful for it. People say that they're grateful for it. And I like being able to, we could really lean into our hardcore releases and just be another hardcore label, if we really wanted to.
Yeah.
That is just, but like it's already happening. It's already, everyone's already taken care of, So like, let's help out. Let's work with our friends who are doing stuff that's not hardcore, or, more hardcore adjacent than more adjacent than hardcore adjacent.
Yeah, no, I mean, I could say from my perspective, like as kind of work from where I'm at, with my life and music at this point, that I am super grateful for you guys, and listening to you both talk about the community aspect of what you're doing. Like you are in the mix of these sort of like worlds and scenes, like on the ground, in a way. Like I met you guys at like a merch swap thing,
Yeah,
kind
The
the
Edge
of
Mat.
like,
Edgeven
Yeah.
Flea Market. Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it was, cool to meet you guys. And I was already sort of like clued into what was going on. I think I had like heard the normal record maybe or something. And I was like, what is this Setterwind thing? And I was very curious about it. But like for me, like I'm super thankful to you both for like allowing me to feel a part of something, that like is bigger than what I'm doing. It like there is like this kind of like the bands have played together, and there's been like, I know um but my bandmates will order, a new like whatever when you guys put it out, just to be like not just to be like, yo, thanks for being cool, but like because we're also like psyched for the record, and we're
Yeah.
like, like, oh, they're putting this out, it's gonna be good, even if, like I only heard one song or whatever, and
Mhm.
so um feeling like at this age, especially for me, like a part of something like that, it really gives me the juice and the motivation to like continue to do this because it feels like kind of back to what you said, Jake, about like something, we've got you or we've got your back, basically, like
Yeah.
feeling like you do have this like something kind of there to kind of like be like, no, dude, this is good. You should do this, or we're gonna
100%.
like, put our stamp on it and put some energy that we have, which is not unlimited, like we're gonna put some of our energy into this thing that you care about, like that for me as an aging artist and person's game is like very, very appreciated. So thank you guys. Not to get weird or like, too sentimental,
No,
but uh
100%.
thank you from like myself and like everything I'm involved in. Like everybody in all those projects are always just like those guys are so great. They're so cool. Like we're so like thankful and grateful to be included in this whole thing. So
well, we
anyways,
thank you for letting us be a part of these releases.
oh yeah.
Um, I don't know if I've ever if I've ever told you this, but like I think once Jake came on board, we actually made like a list of bands that we would want to work with, and Extra Arms was on that list
Oh,
before
okay.
I met you.
Cool. Weird.
Um,
I didn't know that.
um, I just liked the band. Like I was like, this is like a really like kind of great power pop band out of
Yeah.
Detroit. And so like when I finally met you and you wanted to pitch us a solo record, I was like, oh yeah, close enough. Like
Cool.
I'm cool
Yeah.
with that. And then Extra Arms after that. And then like everything is like just it every time that you put something out, Big Life, Extra Arms, solo, it's a step up, that just makes it so much more exciting.
Right.
And
Well,
so
thank you.
yeah, so I'm very grateful that we get to be a part of that and play a little part in that and
Well, it
to
means a
celebrate
lot.
these races.
It means a lot to me. So yeah, the feelings are
Absolutely.
mutual, and you guys,
Absolutely.
I feel like there is another question that I have, but before we get there, like I feel like um, what you guys sort of are doing is super punk and very just like done in this like really ethical and cool way, and for me like I want to be associated with that, and like I want to be, like I might like sort of be known for like a power pop thing, which is maybe a little less punk adjacent, but like being connected to a punk project is exactly what I want to be connected to, so it's again, I super appreciate what you guys are doing visually, uh you know the diversity of the bands on the label. People are genuinely excited about what you guys are putting out, and I know they're taking notice, so I'm super happy for you guys. But before I let you
Thank you.
go,
Yep.
um there's this sort of a quick section of the show called the elevator pitch, where you're stuck in an elevator with somebody, both of you guys get stuck, and you start talking, and it comes out that you own a record label, and you have to, before the elevator obviously turns back on, tell them why they should check out your record label. What would you tell them in this moment in a very succinct and tight way?
It's a good question. I mean, I think that like if they're interested in even hearing us talk about our record label, I would be very excited, and I'd just be like, if you're into anything that's like punk, indie, emo adjacent, we have something for you. You know, like there's something in there. It's worth digging. It's worth spending your time on. And I think that everything that we put out is quality. I think that it's like has value. So like you're gonna, because we have various genres, you're gonna find something that you don't like, and that's like to be expected, you know. But
Hmm.
if you keep digging, you'll find something for sure that you like, because we've kind of spanned across like everything. Like even like Evan's stuff is folk, and then Moral Pollution
Hmm.
stuff is super heavy and aggressive, and everything in between, you know. So, you know, if I was in the elevator and somebody was wearing a shirt or something, I might use that to like spin off of like, hey, like what you like that, you might like something that I've put out,
Yeah,
you
cool.
know.
What about you, Luke?
Like the closest thing that I've given to like that type of pitch before is like I'm usually like, did you like music? Like, did you like rock music in the 90s? It's like that's like what we put out.
Yeah.
We put that on vinyl CDs and tapes, and we still do all of
Hmm.
that. If you want to hear that type of music again and in 2026, and you want to, hear it from brand new bands, mostly in Michigan, that you would not hear otherwise, that's where we come in. Check us out.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah. Hell yeah. Well, if that was me in the elevator, I would take you up on it for sure, because I still have a curious mind for new music, and I hope other people do too. And uh, uh, that is something that I want to encourage everybody listening to do, is go check out Setterwind Records. It's setterwindrecords.com. You can go to their website. You can get to their Bandcamp at setterwindrecords.bandcamp.com. You can find them on Instagram, just at Setterwind Records. They have a Facebook page. You can look that up. It's just facebook.com/Setterwind Records. And then you can even shoot them an email if you want to. Send them a meme. Setterwindrecords@gmail.com. So
We don't get enough memes, so
yeah, I think it's time
we're
to,
hurting for memes.
really flood the inbox. Thank you guys so much again for doing the show. I appreciate
Yeah.
it. I had a lot of fun talking to you guys and kind of getting to know so the backstory of everything, and how you guys kind of started everything up as friends, sort of new friends. That definitely was not something I knew. So thank you again for being on. I'm gonna let you guys go. I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah.
See you
Thank
guys
you so
later.
much, Ryan. See ya.
Yeah, man.
Bye.
See ya.